Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we are discussing the subject, live like a local or live like a tourist. So let's get started. So we are discussing this subject because after we did a few videos that we did was the one, can you live out of $1,400 per month here in Dominican Republic? And the other one was our budgeting after 3 years moving back here to Dominican Republic, Santo Domingo. And basically it is very interesting how people respond to these videos when we make them. So we have a few comments that were very interesting, and we thought it was worth just to discuss this point, and just for people to realize that everybody have a different idea and different opinion, like I mentioned. And the first thing that we're gonna discuss is, what do people mean when they say live like a local or live like a tourist? What do they mean with that, or is it true? And do you want to start, or you want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
So you asked me, what do I mean?
I'm asking, what do you think the people mean with that? And what do you think when you think about that subject matter?
Right. So the way I think about it is that, like, when I used to hear it, I understood it, and I still understand it now. But now, after living here, though, the meaning has changed to me. So when I used to hear people say that, the first thing came to my mind is that when they said local living like a local, meaning those who live like, I guess what I would say, majority of the population that live in typical Dominican neighborhood. And when you live like a tourist, it's more like you're living, a little bit more, more expensive than lower class. You live in middle class on up. So that's what I, got from living like a local and living like a tourist. And also living like a tourist can have another meaning too, where people come and they just, everything they do is just more, they're spending. It's more living like a tourist to me.
So what is your opinion now? You say that was you initially thought. So have your opinion changed about that?
Yeah, it has changed, and the reason it's changed is because the people who live here in our building are Dominican. They're locals, and they live a middle class living. The people who live in the towers all around us are mostly, I would say, Dominicans, and they're local. So to me, living like a local does not have any type of financial distinction to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not a financial distinction anymore, because who am I to say that the person that lives across the hall from me, who's been living in Dominican Republic their whole life, to tell them that they're not a local, because they earn a better living than the ones that people identify as local, because they don't earn a higher living. So like this comment, and we're probably gonna show this comment too in just a minute, but one guy said that it was disrespectful when we made the video about living on here on $1,400 a month, because the average Dominican makes $400 a month, and that's disrespectful to make a video like that. And I'm thinking to myself, so all these Dominicans that live in this building, I'm sure pay more than $1,400, make more than $1,400 and live on a lifestyle more than $1,400 a month. So they're Dominicans. Are they disrespecting other Dominicans? I mean, what is the logic in that? There's no logic in that. So basically, it sounds like, or is he just directing it at foreigners that come over here and say, hey, you're saying you're living on $1,400 in the average Dominican, which again makes no sense at all, because it doesn't matter who makes $1,400 a month, whether it's a Dominican or foreigner. You're saying that you're disrespecting the average Dominican, and I just think that the whole argument of that is just it doesn't have any basis to it. So that's what I think about when I think about when you ask me if my perspective has changed. It has changed a lot since living here, because I know now that all Dominicans are not poor or live in a lower class neighborhood. Like I said, it's some money in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So based on that logic or that opinion that guy say, it would be then the respectful for somebody like LeBron James live where he lives just because he make more than everybody else, all that means that he is not a American, he is a tourist just because he's able to afford to live where he lives, or he just
is he disrespecting me?
Because he's able to make that kind of money, he's able to afford wherever he lives. That is just, I mean, sometimes things doesn't make people, I don't know if people put in my favorite word, perspective, what they say, but I don't think they do sometimes.
So what I want to say is that, my bad to interrupt you, but what I want to say is that the guy that made that comment, to give him to his credit, when you responded to him about, so does a person have to go to a country and live and budget their lifestyle around what the average, person of that country makes? And he was like, fair enough. You know what I'm saying? He understood that. So to his credit, once you say things to people, some people, I just say some people, it kind of sunk into him and said, hey, that was like a crazy, comment to even put there for him to say, because it didn't make sense.
I mean, sometimes people make an opinion about something, but just they say what immediately comes to their mind because they know that, of course, I would say, I don't know what is percentage right now, but there are a lot of Dominicans are living lower class neighborhood. And then when you talk about something like that, the major Dominican don't make that amount of money to live like that. They immediately, the first thing they come into mind is, I mean, that are disrespectful for them people, but they don't put in perspective like, well, okay, if they don't make that money, it just doesn't make sense. But in my opinion, live like a local, live like a tourist. To me, living like a local is just doing things locals do here. It doesn't matter the amount of money that you make or where you live. If you live over here, you just have a long-term rental, or you have your own house and you just go shopping, you cook, you live your life here in Dominican Republic. That is living like a local. Beside the point that you are a foreigner or you are a Dominican. Live like a tourist to me was like people that come over here in short term, let's say they rent a place, a Airbnb or a short-term apartment, and just do things like a tourist, like eating out at restaurant because they don't cook, and just doing things the tourist people do, just visiting the place and the city and places, and not doing nothing like living here in the country. But it's
yeah, because we don't do something every day. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, tourists, they go out. When they wake up in the morning, they got an agenda, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
They have an agenda.
They got an agenda, right?
But we don't. We here we just have our normal life that we go out, do a lot of things. But that's people what they do in their free time, or they do for what they like to do. But that was my opinion in living like a tourist or living like a local.
So yeah, I agree. That's how we see it now, is that, it doesn't matter what your financial status is. It doesn't mean that you're not a local because you make X amount of dollars or you don't make X amount of dollars. It doesn't mean that you're not a local. So
yeah, even for me, not even living in a tourist area mean that you are not a local or living like a local, because sometimes can be you live in a tourist town or tourist area, but you live like a local because you're doing everything that a local person would do. Like living in Boca Chica, for example, that's a tourist area, and that doesn't mean the people that live there, because a whole bunch of Dominicans live there. Doesn't mean because you live there, you just live like a tourist. Just if you're doing tourist thing, then yeah, but if you're doing local thing, then you living like a local.
Right.
So another thing that we find very interesting it is when people say, especially when I make the video about our budget, what we make, when people say you forgot to add this or you forgot to add that. For example, the amount of money that you put for hobbies, I guess, no hobbies, that is not, for entertainment. Yeah, that's the word, for entertainment. And it is very funny because the entertainment money and budget is different for everybody, and that is an amount that you don't know how to budget, because the thing that you do is not the same thing that we do, and then it's very difficult to add a number for that. So there are a few things that people usually say you forgot to add. Not just that, but that one is one that is the one they
stood out the most.
Yeah, they stood out the most, because entertainment, it is something some people can just go out and have a dinner or lunch. Some other people don't do anything. Some other people go and hang out, go to bars and club every night or every week, twice, 3 times. So it's very difficult to add a budget for that. And when we make this type of video, for example, our budget, and when we put the example for the $1,400, that is just a
foundation.
Yeah, foundation for you to keep have in mind that you can make it with that amount. But besides that, whatever you want to add to it, or whatever you know that you do extra, you just add it to that number, and then voila, you have your number. Like for example, if somebody tell me, oh, I need to go to the doctor every month to do this and that, I cannot budget that to you because I don't know what you have to do in the doctor. I don't know what other kind of things you have to do. So that is a small number. What we put in that number was the things that we know people have to do regardless. Other things that you have to have, which is house, electricity, food, things like that.
Internet.
Internet, insurance.
Yeah.
The basic, pretty much the basic. If anything else after that, you just put a number, whatever number you want to put.
And another thing, another person said is next time add cleaning materials and things like that, or how much cleaning man, listen. How do we know what kind of cleaning supplies you use? You know, you want us to tell you how much toilet paper you need to wipe your ass every month? I don't know that. I don't know how many times you take a shit.
That is going to the video.
Yeah. What? That's so.
Okay.
I mean, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, that's, you know, nobody, we don't know that. So just kind of, you know, figure that out on your own, man. And you see these thumbnails, these guys, these questions, they be having suits and ties on. I'm like, man, you got a suit and tie on? You asking me to tell you how much toilet paper to use? Come on, man. You lost for words now, man.
I don't even know what to say.
We're making a video.
I don't know even what to say. No, but you weren't talking, but I don't even know what to say after that. So yeah, when you are doing your budget or putting things together, you just need to add whatever amount of money that you need for extra thing that you need to do. You just need to add it to that budget. So you have something else to say about that, or we can go to the next one?
I don't know. I made you got lost for words when I was talking earlier.
Yeah, I got lost. I got lost for words.
Well, because you use a lot of toilet paper?
Not really. I don't use a lot of toilet paper. It's because I didn't think you was gonna say that. Yeah. That's all.
She uses a lot of toilet paper, man.
I don't. So in our next point, we're gonna share with you guys a few comments from different people. And that is what we want to show, the different spectrum that people have. Like how people are very okay or happy with the different amount of money for them to live, whatever their lifestyle is.
So, yeah, so basically, you know, what she's saying is that, you know, when we made the $1,400, living on $1,400, people chimed in and said, that is either too much, that's just right, or it's not enough. So we just want to show you the comments of some people who commented on that and what their opinion was. And I think it's telling. So let me put the comments here on the screen. So this comment says you need at least 4,000 USD to live good out there, meaning in Dominican Republic. This other commenter said, I live 8 out of 12 months in La Romana, about 8-minute walk to the beach. My overhead is about $600. I don't use a house phone or cable. I have my cell and a smart TV. I don't really watch much, and my rent is $350 for a 2-bed, 1.5 bath, 24-hour security, own my own car, but only use it when I leave town. If you live anywhere, you need to live like the locals. If you're in DR and live like a tourist, it would never work. This other guy said, I have 10 years living in DR, and the answer is not really, meaning you can't live off $1,400, not really. If you don't go out, then sure, but to live a good life and finance a nice vehicle, if you ain't making 120,000 pesos per month, you ain't living good. I love his ain'ts, I think he's from Alabama. And 120,000 peso is equivalent to $2,000 US. as you can see from those comments, that the cost of living is on a spectrum, like I mentioned in that video that we did about living on $1,400 a month. It all depends on where you live. You know, this guy was saying $600, he was living in La Romana. Don't think that when you see the $1,400 that you have to have $1,400. You don't have to have $1,400 to live here, but based on what we were showing you, those apartments were around the $1,400. I mean, that type of living was around the $1,400-$1,500 range.
People opinions and idea, it is different. So all that, when we make those type of video, is for you to have again an idea. But that you have to take in consideration that if you want to pay more, if your lifestyle allow you permit that you can pay more, of course you can find that. If you want to pay less than that, you can also find it in here. Because you can have, maybe you can pay less than 14, less than 1,000, even less than 500. It's just depending if you are willing to live that lifestyle, if you're willing to live in those areas, if you willing to come over here to Dominican Republic and live like that, you can do it. But it's just like everybody's opinion, how much you can make living out here is different. And which is, I like, because we always be saying that. Since we started making this type of video, we always say that it's depending how much you want to pay, you're willing to pay. You can find those places that you can afford. Somebody with $600 is fine, he's okay living in there. And then you have somebody saying that you need 4,000. Right. Some other person said that you need 2,000 because to drive a nice car. And in that message, what I have to say, not everybody they come from another country is willing to come over here and drive. Some people don't want to drive but have a nice car here. As a matter of fact, if they buy a car, they don't want a nice car because they know or they believe that that car is gonna be damaged anyway because they're gonna get it wrecked or somebody gonna hit it. Right. So some people just willing to come over here, live if they want to take a Uber if they go somewhere. Some people are just willing to do that. So it's depending on what you want to do, what is your lifestyle, and that is what is going to depend on how much you will be paying.
Right, because the guy that said 4,000, I could say, I could tell him that's too much, but who am I to tell somebody what's too much for them to spend? You know what I'm saying? Like people, tell us like $1,300 is too much for y'all for that apartment. One guy said it was gringo pricing. I mean, how's it gringo pricing when you got you're the one that negotiated, so it's not gringo price, it's just the price of the place. So
it's place in the area.
Right, the place in the area. And guys, $1,300 is not a lot of money. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't know why we think $1,300 is a lot of money. It's not a lot of money to stay for an apartment. Where we stayed at last, we were paying $2,200, and now I'm paying $13. Well, actually, we were paying $12. So when we moved there, we had $1,000 savings. Until you said they raised our rent, but we had $1,000 savings. So, to me, I feel like that was a deal. Coming from South Florida.
Yeah, I agree. It is not, but some people, I understand that for some people that it is a lot of money, especially for a lot of people that live here in Dominican Republic and make their money here in Dominican Republic. But at the same time, it is depending on how much you are already paying. Like we always say, and we can discuss it over and over and over again every day. It's gonna be the same all the time. It's gonna be depending on everybody's opinion. Because like for us, like he mentioned it, for us coming from a place 3 years ago, paying $2,200, coming over here and paying 12 at the moment, it was saving half. So for us, it was a saving. And see, if we already making the money that we making there and making it here, if you saving half, you are making a saving. So for you, it won't be too much, unless that you want to go below that. But for some other people that don't make that kind of money, and they don't live the lifestyle, or that they don't make that money, of course, it's gonna be a lot of money. Right. So it's probably gonna depend on who is watching, listening, and everything else.
Well, and let me add another thing too, real quick, is that when we did our cost of living video, people did, people saying like, yeah, that's gringo prices. They figured $2,400 is a lot of money. But what I noticed people do when we do these things is that they only focus on, or not just even those videos, when they even talk about Dominican Republic and they talk about the cost of living, the only two things they focus on is rent and food. Which I agree. You know, those are the two most important things. You want to have a place over your head. You want to have you want to have food in your belly. And so I understand that. So when we put the video out about our cost of living, you know, and you said the rent first, as soon as people hit $1,300, their ears close up because they like that's
Probably should live for last.
Yeah, because it's like that's a lot of money, you know, and it's funny because they don't even get a chance to get to the part where we just said, you know, we came here and we saved $1,000 a month, which we had a savings of $12,000 our first 2 years here. So that's a savings of $24,000, and they don't hear that. They hear the 13, like, oh, that sounds like an American price, in American rent. But another thing you guys don't look at either. You don't go further enough in the conversation because when your ears close up at the rent, you don't hear the rest of it. You don't hear that car insurance we're paying liability $10 a month when we were paying $325 I think in Florida, at least $300 of auto insurance, and I think we had liability. No, we had to have full coverage in Florida. You had to have full coverage, but still $300 a month. That right there is a $290 savings.
No, I think we have full coverage because we still have that car finance.
And then okay. All I know is we paying $300
Yeah, we was
something
paying
dollars.
full coverage. Yeah.
And coming here and paying $10, that's a $290 savings. Nobody's looking at that savings. Health insurance. We were paying $181 in health insurance. I mean, we pay $181 in health insurance here. Over there, we was paying $750 a month in health insurance. I'm not good at math, but I know that's over $500 savings, I would think. Nobody's looking at those savings. What else? Even cable, internet, phone, that's $50. Over there, Xfinity, if you get cable, internet, and phone, at least when we were there, they was trying to sell those packages for like $99, $100 or something like that. That's a savings. So all I'm saying is people need to not only look at food and rent, you gotta look at the other things that we're saving on. And then not only that, they're not even paying attention that you're saying this is for a family of 3. And we're saying it's everything included. We're not saying we're paying $2,400 for an apartment. We're saying we're paying $2,400 for our lifestyle.
And then we're saving half of the money because we used to pay over the one was like over there about 45.
I don't know how anybody can even argue with that.
And then we're paying about 24, which is almost half.
Right. I can understand when you say, well, you know, I would cut down on my rent if it was me, and I would pay a little bit less than rent. But hey, kudos, y'all still saving. I would say, I'd be cool with that, but people say, oh, that's too much. It's like, man, what planet? I mean, what are you smoking, man? Give me some of that good shit.
So guys, yes, when we make this type of video, it's for you to look at the big picture. Don't focus on just the big number that you hear and then just close your ear and say, oh, that's too much. I don't want to hear that. Look at the total amount. Look at the savings that you are making. Look at everything in together. Not just one number, because sometimes, it can be some things that probably is going to be more expensive here and there. And especially if you just buying, you doing your groceries, everything that you buy is your American brand that you like, because you don't wanna change that. Then your food budget will be more expensive.
Right.
Things like that is gonna change, but you have to see everything. I mean, where are your savings and where are you spending more?
Right.
That way you can put it in perspective.
Right. Because I agree, you could save on in our scenario, you can save on accommodations. You know, you don't have to spend $1,300, man. Me personally, I'm just that type of guy where I have to live somewhere where, I have to have a nice place to lay my head. That's just me. You know, some people like nice cars. You know, I'm not really a car guy. I like nice cars, but I would rather have a nice place to stay versus a nice car. Some people drive a $80,000 car and live in a regular apartment, and that's fine. Me, I'd rather live in a better place and drive my Veloster that I got, the red Veloster. I'm okay with that. So it's like I say, it always goes back to preference. You know what I'm saying? It always goes back to preference.
So guys, please still leaving your opinion down here, because that sometimes gives us ideas to make videos, and also it let us know that people have different point of views. And sometimes some people don't see things clearly until you discuss it, and then or describe what you're trying to say for people to understand. But sometimes people hear something and they just say, okay, no, that is not what I think about that. But then when you when you talk about it and you make it clear what you're trying to say, then people understand better. That is very good. And we are not discussing this point or those comments because we don't like the people make comment, or because we just like those comments. That way we can talk about it, because it is everybody's opinion. Everybody don't think the same. I'm sorry. Everybody don't think the same. So it is good to discuss those points. But it is just funny, like how people mind all think different. That's all.
Oh, you know, last thing I keep saying last name, but what I wanted to say is when people ask about the $200, $300, $400 apartments, guys realize that it's more difficult to do those apartments, because those type of apartments, they don't advertise online.
A lot of them though aren't online. Most of them you have to go the areas and look for it yourself, and see the sign for rent sign out there in all those places. You don't find a lot of those places online that you can take those pictures like we normally do to do the videos. It's more difficult. It's not that it is impossible, but it's a little bit more difficult.
So if you don't see those videos a lot, it's not because we don't want to do them. It's because, I mean, you got to actually get out there in those neighborhoods and drive around.
And besides, those places don't stay there for too long.
Yeah.
They don't stay, because I was doing a service somebody one time looking for an apartment between that price range and me. It was kind of hard. It was difficult. It was difficult to find those places. You can find it, but
you better be ready to pay for it.
You better be ready to take it when you see it, because they're very difficult.
Right. So if you want that type of apartment, you got to come boots on the ground.
Yeah. So guys, this is all what we have right now. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share. And we will see you in our next one. Bye.
Peace.